cry no more.
Oh, my Lord.
We won't have to cry no more.
I tell you, we won't, church.
We won't have to cry no more.
Hi, and welcome to another segment of KISS. Keep it simple, sir. Keep it simple, senorita, senor. Keep it simple, thanks of God. We're glad to come to your home, wherever you may be, whether it's by television today, YouTube. But we have a great production here in the house. It's full. I mean, full of information that I'm sure that you're going to enjoy. Get on the phone, call a neighbor, call a friend. The subject that we're going to talk about today is very important. And something that's taking place with us today, daily, throughout the country and actually throughout the world. That subject is talking about dementia. Dementia prevention and awareness. Today I have very special guests here with me today. I'm going to let them introduce themselves. I'm going to start with Brother Scott over here. Yes, sir.
My name is Scott Griswold, and I'm a volunteer community educator for the Miami Valley Alzheimer's Association. I was born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio, but came down to this area years ago, raised a family. I have a wife, 6 wonderful children. We are a blended family. For about 20-some years, I worked in the sales field with healthcare information systems, but you may call it a midlife crisis, but I answered the call to ministry and began serving churches. And so for the past 22 years, I served the United Church in South Vienna, Ohio. During that time, the reason I came to the Miami Valley Alzheimer's Association is in 2018. I was just simply doing a normal project in the backyard, and all of a sudden I couldn't do it anymore. And I actually extremely lost it. I probably said things that I couldn't repeat on this show. And my wife heard me. She came outside. She brought me into the house, calmed me down, and said, you know what? We're going to have a conversation about this, but we're not going to do it right now. So a few days later, we had that conversation. And she began to share with me things that I didn't realize, because as individuals, we compensate for ourselves when we have issues. You know, we do that. And she began to share with me how she noticed that I was missing words at the pulpit. I would lose my place in the worship service. Folks didn't mind because we got out a little bit earlier. And and she would notice that I'd like to drink ice cubes in my coffee in the morning. The freezer would be left open, or things, the water faucet running. And then she had friends telling her, and they noticed that words were difficult for me and I was missing words. And she would also notice people at church would come up to her. Of course, they wouldn't confront me, but they would tell her something's going on with him. And the better you check into this, the better off you will be. And that's the conversation she had with me. And I'm very fortunate that I have been with a doctor for 27 years. Mm-hmm. And at that time, it was probably 6 years ago that this happened. And we made an appointment to go in and talk with him. And he just gave me what was called a memory mapping. After I received that memory mapping, we were called back into the office together, my wife Karen and I, and right there on the paper, it showed my weaknesses and in the brain waves and things that were going on. And there, written there, was the diagnosis, dementia, Alzheimer's. So I began the one of the first medications that you take for dementia, Alzheimer's. But then I realized, after going through probably a good 3 months of grief process, even going back into the doctor and saying, "Are you sure about this?" And he would get all the reports out again and say, "Yes, here's what's going on, and you're going to get some help. And the idea is we want you to continue to do what you're doing, your ministry. Those are the things that you enjoy. I want you to be able to eliminate a lot of your stress and just really enjoy life." So the good news was I didn't like the administrative work at church, so I got rid of that and stuck with the preaching and the teaching. You know that.
Yes.
Yeah. So then after that grief process, I thought I better do an internet search on Alzheimer's. And the first thing that came up was the Miami Valley Alzheimer's Association. So I began attending workshops that they offer, understanding aging, dementia, and Alzheimer's, how to handle behaviors, healthy living for mind and body, how to have conversations with people who have dementia. What's the difference between dementia and Alzheimer's and all the other brain diseases that people may have? And so as my family with me attended these workshops, I thought, whoa, I like to talk, as you can tell. I might as well sign up and become a community educator and go out and do these workshops. And that has helped me immensely, not only with handling my diagnosis, but it gives me a sense of purpose and meaning, because really the goal of this whole association is to help people overcome the stigma, the denial, and seek the help early as possible. And I hope that I can in some way be an example about that. And so I'll let maybe Dana share a little bit more now.
Keep on going, man.
And then I can add with a few more stories.
Of course. Thank you.
Oh, goodness. I forgot I was here. No. I am Dana Ritchie. I'm the program director for the Miami Valley chapter of the Alzheimer's Association, as well as the Greater Cincinnati chapter. Scott makes my job so easy. I took another chapter as well. I've been with the association about 5 years. Like Scott, my life has been very different than what I'm doing now. So I have an MBA, I worked in business, I was actually working for Procter & Gamble. I was in Arkansas, I was selling to Walmart, selling razor blades. My mom was back here in the Cincinnati area, and she started showing signs of some type of memory issue. And unfortunately, her mother also had Alzheimer's. I do have a sibling who started noticing what was happening and said, I'm concerned about Mom. And so long story short, P&G moved me back and we got Mom diagnosed, and unfortunately she did have Alzheimer's. We cared for her in her own home for a couple years. And then for safety reasons, we did unfortunately have to move her into a memory care community. I say unfortunately, but she had a great quality of life there. She was loved by those folks that worked there. And it was about that time I thought, I just want to do something totally different. I've been through a lot with my mom and this diagnosis, so I looked for a totally different kind of job, and I ended up here because I didn't really know about all our programs and services when I needed it for my mother. And I hear other people say that, and that's kind of what keeps me going, is to make sure people know what is available to them. Like Scott said, to stop the stigma. I'm always so blessed to be beside him because he just embodies that. We have to talk about struggles in all areas of our life. We have to talk about our struggles with each other, because you never know, the person sitting right by you might be struggling with the same thing. So that's really our goal, is to bring awareness of the disease, awareness to what we provide. Everything we provide is free. And to really help family members through this disease. So that's what we do on my end of things. Now, the association is also the largest funder, the nonprofit funder of research for all dementia. So our big goal is to work ourselves out of a job. We want to find a cure. And no longer need support, education, and all those good things that we do right now. So that's what we're working toward. But I always say, until there's a cure, there's care. So we provide the care.
And I wonder sometimes myself, I said, a lot of things diagnosed that might not be, it's so many similarities.
Yes.
With dementia.
That's right.
And just life itself.
Yes.
That even young people are accustomed to finding themselves at a very young age.
Yeah.
Now, I usually have a scripture I like to read from the Bible, and that is just a little humor, because I feel like King Nebuchadnezzar, I think he had dementia at one area. And I mean, you know, you're thinking about dreaming. Well, let me see what I did with my glasses so I can read this passage here. Do anyone know where my glasses
They're
are?
in
You're
your
holding
hand.
them.
Oh, could that be a station?
I didn't want to say anything.
Sometimes
Yeah.
the same thing happens. People have it on their head and
Yes.
they're looking around and
Yes.
around the home.
There are warning signs.
Yes. So I'm wondering, could that be a warning sign when I'm looking for the ink pen and then you find out the ink pen is?
Yeah.
And those are some of the things that sort of question
Right.
the areas. So many similarities, is what I'm saying. To
Yes, yes.
Well, you really realize this is the thing, or is this
Yeah.
normal behavior, or
Right.
some people forgiveness, period.
Yes.
Have you ever misplaced your keys?
Quite often.
Well, that's, you know, an indicator. We've all done that.
Yes.
But what we try to tell people is, if you cannot retrace your steps
Yes.
to find out where those keys are,
Yes.
that is a warning sign.
Yes.
Because it's disrupting your daily life.
Yes, yes, very
Because we've all misplaced our glasses. We've
Yeah.
all misplaced keys and things.
Yeah.
Yes.
But when you can't retrace it, then that's an indicator.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. I wonder, you know, sometimes some children, the parents send them to the store, they come back with everything they asked for, then others, they get to the store and forget everything, but they're yet preteens or teenagers in a state of Alzheimer's or what.
Yeah. Well, that's probably just a state of teenager.
In Daniel, I know you had scripture later, but I like this Daniel. And you know the king of Nebuchadnezzar. He had a dream.
Yeah.
The king replied to the Chaldeans, here I am looking at the page, and I've got it before me, but I don't have the same thing. There he said, the thing is gone from me. If you will not make known to me the dream, which the interpreters thereof, you shall be cut in pieces, and your house shall be made as dunghill. And other versions say you would tore limb from limb, but basically the same thing. He actually had a dream. Having a dream and not remembering when you wake, is that a sign?
No, not really.
Thank you.
No, that can be common for other, reasons. But dreaming, those pieces are not as concerning. It's more, like Scott said, something that's interrupting your daily life.
Okay.
So people will say to me when they find out what I do, I get that story about, it took me a while to find my car in Kroger yesterday.
Yeah.
And I always joke with them and say, well, we're not still in Kroger, so I guess you figured it out. That's a pretty good, that's probably normal aging. So like Scott said, we have a great education program. We go through 10 warning signs, and we actually compare them to normal aging in those same signs. So the difference, let's say, here's one that usually gives people pause. How many times have you got up from the couch, gone into the kitchen, get in the kitchen, can't remember what you went in there for? And you're not going to remember until you get back on the couch, get nice and comfy, program starts again. Oh, dang it, I needed a fork, right?
Yeah.
That's normal aging. It's frustrating, right? It's frustrating, but that's typically normal.
Okay.
What we're talking about is something much more pronounced. So go into the kitchen. I know I need a fork. I don't know where they are.
Okay.
This has been my kitchen for 20 years. Where do we keep the forks? And literally can't remember where things are in your own home. So that's what we're talking about. It's something much more pronounced than just that frustration of normal aging, forgetfulness for 15 minutes and then you figure it out situation.
Yes.
Yeah.
After so many years of being married, quite a few, and my wife passed now 4 years, and I don't know if that's dementia or not. I know where everything is, but then I don't put places to the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
I might put it in different places. I don't know if somebody else do that or you have that problem.
Yeah.
But you're probably a lot more organized.
Well, I compensated before I got my diagnosis because I lived off of lists. I had to have things in certain places. And if those things weren't in certain places, I would blame somebody else for it besides myself. And those are things that we compensate for ourselves before we recognize something's going on. And that's why usually someone else will see it before we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We also become sometimes, like you said, really suspicious. It's never you or the person who's having the issues. I didn't do it. Somebody's moving my things, or somebody stole that from me.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
And it can be things that don't make sense. So my mother had Alzheimer's, and she accused me of stealing her most prized possession,
Okay.
a bunch of eggs.
Yeah.
Yeah. She couldn't find them, and they're so important to her. The only thing possible was I stole them. Right? So things that just don't even make sense. Why would I take those from her? Right? Her daughter who loved her. But it's almost like rational thinking is not an option sometimes,
Yes.
and it's overtaken with somebody's messing with me, somebody stole from me, and even people you love the most, it can be something like that, because like you said, you don't recognize those signs, you don't have that recollection that, you know, I put the eggs in the microwave instead of in the refrigerator, and why that doesn't make sense, right? That's not going to work for you to have a carton of eggs in the microwave. They need to be refrigerated. So it's usually more those types of things than, you know, something that just is frustrating for a small bit of time. I think the other thing I talk about a lot is everybody kind of has a baseline of like who they've always been. You know, so one of our signs is maybe, you know, making mistakes when it comes to money. Well, some of us have just never been good with money, right? So, you know, if you're 80 years old and you bounce a check, if this is the first time in your life you've ever bounced a check, and you've, you know, been the type of person who balances your checkbook down to the quarter, and if you can't find the quarter, you go to the bank and ask the teller, where's my quarter? You know, if you are that detailed and now you're bouncing checks and your electric's getting turned off, you know, that's the sign for you. Somebody who, their electric gets turned off probably once a year because they just forget to pay the bill, or they overdraft pretty often. You know, that's not their gift to be good with money. Well, now all of a sudden, if they're still doing that as a senior citizen, that's just kind of their baseline. Like, that's not necessarily a sign for them. So you have to think about that too. What's unique about you? Some of us are not well organized. We never have been organized. We're not going to be organized as we age.
No.
Yeah. But those of us who are militant about it, and now our house is a disaster, you know, that's the sign. That's a concern. Yeah.
I wondered the physical exercises of the mind. My mother-in-law in her life, she would always do crossword puzzles and things. Is that something that helped build or stimulate one to avoid?
Yeah, so we talk about cognitive exercise is really important, especially as we age, because now you are not a good example of this. You have not slowed down as you've aged, but a lot of people do, right? They may stop working, their retirement plan may just be getting to be good friends with their lazy boy. Like they don't have a way to keep that cognitive stimulation up that they needed when they worked. You know, when we work, we have to know people's names, we have to perform certain tasks. Now in our life we have lots of passwords, you know, all kinds of things that are exercising our brains, and it can be hard to replicate that if we're not working anymore. So we talk about any kind of things to exercise your mind can be helpful. And I have heard from a neuropsychologist, he talks about 3 steps to exercise your mind, because it's hard to get out a treadmill for your brain, right? But he says the 3 steps are learn new things, so be a lifelong learner. Challenge yourself, right? So crossword puzzles, we can do the easy ones or we can do the hard ones. You know, if your goal is to get through the crossword in 15 minutes and you're doing that, it may be a little too easy for you. And we like that because we can check that off the box, but challenge yourself. Take all day, you know, get yourself a crossword. It may take you 2 days to do it because it's hard. That's helpful. And then the last thing he talks about is be diverse in the things you're doing. So let's talk about puzzles, for example. If you love the crosswords, maybe you do that over breakfast because that's when you're the sharpest. So that's all, you know, kind of trivia and spelling and, you know, a totally certain type of skill or task. Maybe at lunch, then you do something that's more math focused, number focused, like a Sudoku or something that totally different kind of brain exercise. You've got to start adding things up or counting or you know, math, simple math. And then maybe after dinner we get out the old-fashioned jigsaw puzzle, right? Because that's a visual challenge. Or there's all kinds of things on our cell phone, all kinds of games for visual stimulation. But those are 3 different parts of the brain then. So then if in between then you go to a cooking class or you go to a painting class, you know, we've gotten now over to a different side of the brain altogether. So mixing things up with what you're doing, like just don't focus on spreadsheets all day long, you know, at some point get artistic during the day. So that kind of diversity is the way that you exercise your brain.
That's like exercising the physical body as well.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So, I see. And you know, I was talking about my brother-in-law happened to me the other day. He's 92, but he goes.
Yeah.
And never stop. He beats me up in the morning.
Oh my.
He'll go, I cut the grass around your property today. And I'm saying, oh, okay, I'm getting up. But I guess that's another thing when it comes to retirement.
Yeah.
Sometimes maybe we retire too much. When we say the guy having his mind, when I get to a certain age, I'm gonna get the rocking chair, I'm gonna be quiet.
Yeah.
And when we set that in our mind, in fact, a friend was telling me this not long ago, she said it was this one young lady had the perception that 50 years old was old. And that when she turned 50, anyone 50 had to be in a rocking chair.
Goodness.
And literally when she turned 50, she ended up in a rocking chair. She had programmed herself, I guess, over the years.
Wow.
But we know 50 years is not bad, 60 years, 70 years. The closer you get.
Yeah. We're both over 50, so that's not old.
Well, I know when I was facing retirement, I was also facing the Alzheimer's at the same time.
Okay.
And one of the things that came across through our church affiliation was a program called Next Steps. And I took an 8-week online course with about 12 other people. What are we going to do after retirement? How are we going to look at our passions? What's going to be our community? Who is going to be our team of support? All of these different things to make it so much easier for us to live, because as we were talking about earlier, how can you be involved in lifelong learning and doing the things that you want to enjoy, not to just sit,
Yeah.
but find your passion And within that passion, there's so much hope for possibilities.
Right.
Yes.
And that class had nothing to do with dementia. That was
No,
purely about
it was
retiring.
for people for retiring.
Yeah.
Yep.
But that would help.
Oh,
It did.
absolutely, it did. And of course, one of the things that we often talk about, and you just brought it up, is the mind, the body, and the heart are so interconnected.
Yes.
And you really do have to care for all of those. You know, 25% of our blood flow from the heart goes to the brain, and that's what you need to keep going. It's to fire those neurons that you have up there,
Yeah.
because they're blocked, they're dying off, because with Alzheimer's, it's a disease. The brain cells are dying. So what can you do? Can I tell you a story?
Huh?
Yeah.
Yes.
1 month before my diagnosis, we were sitting with some family friends, and they were sharing with us that their son and daughter-in-law had 3 children and a dog that they needed to, that was all getting in the way. And something had to go, and they knew it wasn't going to be the children. So I've never really been a strong pet lover, but I said on a whim, let me see that dog. And they showed me a picture. It was a black and gray Labradoodle. And I said, let's try it for 1 week. And if we can't live with it, give it back. And if you can't live without it, you can have it back. Well, I'll tell you, thanks to my wife who made sure that dog attached to me, I have this companion that's been with me a month prior to my diagnosis, and she was leash trained. Therefore, she's at my bedside at 6:30, between 6:30 and 7 o'clock in the morning, requiring me to take her out for a good walk. At 7 o'clock in the evening, she'll let me know, let's do another one. You know, exercise and walking. If you can't do anything else, that's wonderful. We have a place where we live that has some nice inclines, so it's a good cardio walk that we can do. I mean, I'm not the best at everything. A mediocre diet, but it's trying to take care of mind, body, and heart, and as well as you know, the soul is number 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bring them all together.
Yeah.
That's the multiple. I hear this, and so beautiful you share that. And I know another thing, physical thing, is water. Most seniors, when they go to the doctor, they put them on IV because they're dehydrated.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
And our brain
absolutely.
is what,
Absolutely.
80% water or
Yes.
something?
Yes.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
keep replenishing.
Yes, that's very important. That sleep is something that's very important to our brain. When we are sleeping, some things that are building up in our brain, proteins that are not good for our brain and are building up in our brain, they're removed while we sleep. But if we don't sleep long enough and deep sleep long enough without medication to get us there, that doesn't get removed then. So the brain, it's an amazing organ, and it is set up to try to repair itself. But if we don't feed it what it needs and give it what it needs, it can't do its job then. But yeah, dehydration, the other reason we talk about stopping the stigma, no one wants to go to the doctor and be told they have Alzheimer's, right? That's nobody's goal. But things like dehydration, urinary tract infections, thyroid issues, vitamin deficiencies, all things that are more likely to happen to us as we get older, they can all look just like dementia. If we went down all 10 signs, and hearing loss is another one that can look like dementia. So all 10 signs, any of those could be caused by something that's totally treatable.
Yes.
And you will never know that if you don't go to the doctor. So we don't want to be Pollyanna, but we want people to understand that you have to talk to your physician, right? Because it may even be a brain tumor. It may even be brain cancer, right? But you're not going to know what's wrong with you. And you're not going to have, if it is unfortunately dementia, a better quality of life. Like Scott said, he's still living an amazing quality of life. He has a purpose. He's giving back. Yes. And he's very intentional about it because he knows he has a disease.
I believe routine is very important.
Okay, I'm hearing this.
A routine is very important. I share with people that I really don't like to do anything with anybody until about after 10. Mm-hmm. And it's not that I'm sleeping in the morning. My dog gets me up in the morning, and I have what I call my own spiritual practices that I like to do. And it involves the complete part of my heart, mind, soul, and body. Right. And you have to do those things. Yes. I also think a nap in the afternoon is not too bad.
Sometime in the morning.
Yes.
Just to sit back and regather myself.
Yes,
and you
exactly.
have to do those kind of things.
Yeah.
And it's important. I love table fellowship. So, we try to do that with friends and that. So staying connected is relationships are very important.
Yes.
Don't isolate yourself.
Yes.
Mental health issues are on the rise here because there's so much loneliness going on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Isn't this something that years ago, those old people back there, they called senile?
Yes, sir. You're right.
That's right.
Or
Absolutely.
hardening of the arteries. Did you ever hear hardening of the arteries? That's actually Alzheimer's, but that's what we used to call it, or senility. Yeah. And you don't hear those terms as much anymore about grandma being senile. Yeah.
So is it the water flushes a lot of bad things in the body, so keeping hydrated really helps?
It does. It does help.
That's why I like the 9.5. So
This tastes great.
But a friend of mine, her husband used to teach nurses at Kettering Hospital for years, and the math part she was saying. But she so happened to call me today on my way over, and she so happened, we talk for hours at Lois, if you're looking today. But she said, tell you what, when you talk to the people today, ask them, tell them, what about how the mistreatment that a lot of people that have Alzheimer's, the different nursing facilities and stuff, they act like the people are crazy. She said, they yet have intellect.
Yeah.
They have a knowledge. They're not oblivious. They have a degree of intellect that is not respected.
Right.
And she said, bring that up if you get a chance today. So I will do that, Lois. And she was telling me a little story. She said, it was this one nursing facility. I'm going to do as short as possible, not as long as we talk. She said that this one particular lady, she's just going off back and forth. And of course, those wards are locked, with lock and key. And she would go from one door to the other and back, and she was just very, angry and whatever. And sometimes normally, if you're a normal person and you're locked all of a sudden away from life, you're going to behave a certain way. It's not that you're crazy.
Right.
But you don't really understand that unless you could. And the story she was telling me, she said she had some flowers and roses and they had some left over, and so she went off to the nursing home with it. And this lady was really carrying on back and forth. And she watched, she had 3 left. And the lady stopped and started looking at the 3 flowers she had. And she said, would you like those? She got real quiet. She was not raising a lot of sand.
Yeah.
And she actually gave a presentation, gave her 3 roses. She sat there and listened and received it. And she said, just as normal as anyone ever would be. No one had ever probably treated her and acknowledged her other than being negative.
Right.
And the thing that really got her attention, and one of the nurses told her, this lady was once a doctor.
Wow.
See?
And she had actually had to send people to nursing facilities that had Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
And perhaps now in memory of what she knew about it, being that she was in charge of that situation.
Yeah.
Going through her mind, not crazy, but hey, I never thought, and probably every experience she ever had was other one running through her mind. Not that she's, people think crazy.
Right.
You still intellect, you have the knowledge. And she said, address it. that, maybe more people in the facilities that will recognize these people that have
Yes.
this dementia.
Yeah.
They're not literate.
Right. Right. Yeah.
That's one of the things why we stress early diagnosis. I mean, we could take this a couple different ways, but early diagnosis helps you to build a history of that individual. So as you go through the stages of the disease, you know who this person is. And what we try to stress in the association is, as people go through the stages of this disease, number one, they're still an adult. Number two, they still deserve the respect that an adult deserves, and you need to address that person directly as an adult.
Yes.
And secondly, some facilities may claim that they are memory facilities, but they aren't trained.
Correct.
And it takes a lot to research where you're going to put a loved one that finds the best place for them, as you
right.
probably did with your mother.
Yeah, we did.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just like sending someone with foot problem to a neurologist
That's right. Yeah.
or anything else that they're not specializing
Exactly.
in. And I think a lot of that goes on probably, isn't it? Because of the
does.
finance, the money thing that
Yeah.
rather than really caring for the patient.
Right. Well, and something the association does, and Scott and I both do this individually for the association, we'll give staff training for free. We'll refresh staff on things they need to know about the disease. And it's the things you were talking about, like how do you communicate and connect with someone? Because your job's not going to get any easier if you don't. In fact, things will get easier for you as a person working in a memory care if you can communicate and connect with your residents. Because, she was very anxious, the woman you were talking about. She did not know what was happening, right? A lot of times, so when we have Alzheimer's, it's impacting the part of our brain where we store short-term memories. Long-term memories are stored in a different place.
Yes.
So you may have known someone, they had some type of dementia. They didn't know what day it was. They didn't know where they were. They didn't know what they had for breakfast. They could tell you exactly what happened on June 7th of 1974. And they may have been very accurate in what they're telling you. It's the long-term memories. So sometimes we're living in the past. It's our past. But we don't think it's 2025, we think it's 1985, and we're trying to get to work.
Okay.
And they've locked me in this place, and I can't get out to work, and if I can't get to work, I can't pay my rent, I can't buy food for my kids. So if that's my reality, if in my head I think it's 1985 and I gotta get to work and I'm locked in here, how would you act, right?
Yes.
There's always a reason they're acting that
there
way. You have to enter their reality is what we talk about. Figure out why are they trying to leave? How can we help them through that process? Sometimes we have to employ something we call therapeutic fibs. Bishop, sorry. But God forgive us, but
I heard about 3 months ago a story from a pastor friend of mine.
Good.
And this pastor friend of mine was telling me a family came to her because their mother was in a dementia unit with a memory unit and was just having some behavioral issues. And they didn't know how to deal with it. And they asked the pastor to go in and talk with her. So the pastor went in and talked with her and met with her and got a feeling of what she was trying to tell her and the stories that she was telling her. And when she came back out, the family said, "What do you think we should do?" And the answer was, change her room into her college dorm because that's where she thinks
Where
she
she-
is.
that's where
And they
she-
put in all of the college logos and everything. The woman thought she was going down to the cafeteria
Yeah.
at school
Yeah.
with all of her friends.
Yeah.
And the family said, that settled the behaviors.
Yeah.
and we heard stories about her college life that we hadn't heard before.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. But they joined into that reality.
They joined in and made it part of who she was.
It's not going to go well if you try to reorient them to your reality,
Right.
to 2025.
Yeah.
You got to let them be where they are and you know, speak to that part of it. Because, you know, arguing with someone who's living in another era is usually not going to get you someplace. And then we talk a lot about focus on the feelings, not the facts, because they may be telling you things, you know, like in this case, I'm trying to get to the cafeteria or something that doesn't even make sense in the situation. My mom had some hallucinations. She thought there were strangers in her house. To me, that sounded scary. If I thought there were strangers in my house, I didn't really know how to handle that. So I just asked her, are you afraid of these people? No, I'm not afraid of them. I just want them out of my television room because they're having a party in there and I want to watch, you know, my program. Well, speaking to that feeling of just frustration and annoyance, that's a totally different reaction than fear. You know, it's really easy to get rid of people who don't exist, right? But if I thought she was really afraid, I would need to react in a different way. You know, I need to take her to a place maybe that she felt less fearful of for a time until we got, you know, quieted down and calm and then could re-enter the place. So don't argue about the facts. They may not be facts to you, but the feelings are what you really have to focus on with really all human beings, right? Whether you have dementia or not, we all need a little attention and somebody to really hear us. And so even if it doesn't make sense to you, you know, really see a person, really hear a person. And sometimes you can have a good old time. You know, they'll tell you we're in Brooklyn and we're actually in downtown Dayton, but heck, I've never been to Brooklyn. What's your favorite part of Brooklyn? You know, where do you want to go eat? You know, let's do this together and have a good old time. But you gotta kind of roll with the punches sometimes.
I think that lifelong, as you were saying, the ability, we all learn different.
Yes.
And I remember the program come out, Hook on Phonics. The young people they thought was just completely unteachable.
Yep.
When they found the wavelength in which they understood things, they were actually
Find out what works for best for them.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
And I thought about that basic, you know, a lot of times it's a sad thing.
It is.
Especially within a home.
Yeah.
And it bothers me so much. I know you're in the ministry, you see a lot of things that, likewise.
Yes.
Why some of the younger people began to try to treat their parents as kids or as if they sort of senile, and rather than trying to adjust and adapt. And I understand exactly what you were saying.
Yeah.
Even though I didn't have the knowledge and education you were talking about.
Yeah.
Myself, I, believe it or not, hung out with a lot of my dad's uncles.
Yeah.
It sounds a little strange, but they felt and talked to me like I was back there when they grew up, and I would never, you know, make them feel different. Oh yes, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rather than, I mean, they wonder why the older people could get along with such a young guy.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, but I guess that was some natural God gift.
That was your gift.
Yeah,
That's a gift
probably.
to be able to do that.
And you probably learned an amazing amount of history and life and
Yes. As a minister, I remember some of the older ministers tried to get us in trouble when I was a young minister. We're all in the pulpit, and one of the older ministers began to talk and get into his word he was talking about, and they said, "Get his coattail." I was, I'm not touching no coattail. I'm not getting the attention of anybody.
Yeah.
But you know, and we have to be, I guess, responsible, courteous.
Yeah.
A lot of times there is a generation gap because those in the microwave time, I say, they expect that everyone to be in the microwave, but we are not.
Right.
But you find a more enriched life when you begin to adapt and try to meet someone halfway. Even when I was overseas, Europe in the military, there are a lot of times that people would meet you halfway when you would attempt to speak their language.
Exactly.
Right.
Rather than go there and all of a sudden, is this my way or?
That's right.
You know, and one young lady had me laugh and she said her dad was that way. He went in Europe, and it was upset because the foreigners didn't understand what he was saying. Why don't they speak English? She said, Dad, you are the foreigner.
Yes, you're in their country, right?
Yes. Sometimes we get locked in that it's our way or the highway.
Yeah.
And that make us even tunnel vision as young people.
You're right.
And it's not good, even as a young person, to be so tunnel vision.
Yeah.
We miss out on so much.
Yeah, you're right.
I wanted to share one more thing before we finish up here, if I could, because she was complimenting me on how well I do and adapt well for this Alzheimer's and everything that I have, but that's not always the case. It is a very tough disease.
Okay.
There are moments when I do not like it.
Yes.
And I try not to let people know that as much as I should, because they always tell me often, oh, you're doing so well. And the case is, I'm not always doing so well. There are dark times in my life, and I came to realize that about 8 months ago, and it just took me to a real dark place. And I know I have my strong faith, but I also know I have a network. And my wife told me, you have some issues, talk to your doctor. And they connected me with the people that I needed to be connected to and help me. And I want you to know, I was going to share a scripture passage with
go
you.
right ahead.
Turn to Luke chapter 6.
Uh-huh.
That's in the New Testament.
Oh, you sure? You remember that?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's about the parable of the fig tree,
Uh-huh.
beginning in verse 6. Do you want to read it, 6 through 13?
Well, you or I, let's see here, I'm almost there. My fingers.
Well, you know, we were talking about glasses.
Where are my glasses?
I left mine at home.
Yeah, we've already had that moment
We've
today.
already had that moment. So read 6, I think it's 6 through 13.
6 and 6?
Chapter 13, no.
Oh, 6th chapter, chapter 6.
Is that the parable of the fig tree, or is it chapter 13?
And maybe chapter.
Yeah, I think it's chapter 13,
Okay.
6 through 13. I apologize
No
for
problem.
that. I have issues.
No, you don't. We forget things like that, period, as individuals. We got a lot to do, got a lot of thoughts, a lot of things that we do in life.
Okay.
We're professors.
Chapter 13.
13 and 6?
Chapter 13, beginning with verse 6. Is it the parable of the fig tree?
Okay. Yes.
Yes.
He spake also this parable. A certain man had a fig tree planted in his vineyard, and he came and sought fruit thereon, and found none. Then said he unto the dresser of his vineyard, Behold, these 3 years I come seeking fruit on this fig tree, and find none. Cut it down. Why cometh it the ground? And he answering said unto him, Lord, let it alone this year, also till I should dig about it and dung it. And if it bear fruit, well, and if not, then after that thou shalt cut it down. How far down?
That's it.
Okay.
Well, I read that the other day. It was part of one of my devotions. And I thought, I'm the fig tree.
Okay.
You know, I really am. And what does it say to do? It says, feed it some manure. Alzheimer's is my manure. We all have a little manure in our lives.
Yes.
And then it says you need growth and nutrients and everything.
Yes.
And I discovered within life and the association and my community and the people, those are the nutrients.
Yes.
And it helps me to grow. And after that period of time, when I recognize this is manure, but I'm also very blessed, I can produce the fruit of the Spirit out of Galatians 5 and have those 9 fruit that Paul talks about. And that's what I try to strive for each and every day.
Yes. You know, I thought about when you were talking about some young city girls. I blame between farm and stuff as far as experience. And I had asked them, I was doing RTA at the time I was driving, and we all had always conversation as a driver. I always had somebody standing behind my seat when I'm driving, you know. Felt like bartender again. And I asked them, I said, do you all know what makes the best plant? The best vegetable, the best of best. And they thought about it. They told me a lot of different good soil and blah, 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 blah. And when they got finished talking, they said, what? I said, manure.
That's right.
Cause the best growth.
Yeah.
All these chemical fertilizers and all those things now, it has its detriment today. But the old natural fertilizer, which was manure,
That's right.
take the waste of the land to make the best.
Isn't that
Can't have milk without manure.
That's right. Yeah.
Beautiful way of thinking of this.
Yeah, that's
When you
amazing.
get a chance to think differently about and addressing life differently.
That's right.
So much you can learn
Yes.
from. And I wish some of the young people realize we lose so much from our parents, even the ones that feel I'm Heiser or whatever you feel that
Yeah.
they're going through it. One day you'll get there too.
Yeah.
But I said a businessman, he's trying to tell his son, hey son, we tried this and I've run this business for 50 years.
Yeah.
And sometimes the response is some of the young people say, oh dad, let me make my own mistakes.
Yeah.
Then that young man, 50 years later, found out the same mistakes as dad. You're 100 years in arrears.
Yeah. 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 You're just repeating the same mistakes with each generation.
As whereas you can learn from our elders.
Exactly.
Is that not what the Word of God said? Let the older men
Yeah.
know the way.
Yeah.
And the young, because you're strong, you can physically do it. But the knowledge, you should separate.
Right.
Stay connected with them.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think that's caused a lot of problems in the community and our society.
Yeah.
Because we are destroying all of the wealth of the knowledge of the past.
That's right.
Because the tree is old doesn't mean it has the strength and
That's
knowledge
right.
Amen.
for a younger. And I often say, yes, I hate this thing, generation gap. They talk because you play on that too much.
Yeah.
The thing is, it's a farmer. He knows his soil. He knows all about this.
Yeah.
But a young man is on a combine because you're not playing with a mule or a horse.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't need that. Hear what that old guy said.
Yeah.
I got this big combine, do a month's work in there in a day. But yet, if he was able to listen to the older guy,
Yep.
he would learn the soil better. The older guy maybe cannot run a combine, but the knowledge,
Yes.
and I think that's what we're missing so much,
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
that the older realize the older's carrying the torch.
Yeah.
You can't tell it now. I used to pole vault.
Yeah.
I used to run track.
Yeah.
I'm not going to try that now.
You know, and that's one of the things I try to encourage people to. There's enough books out there, journaling books, that my generation can write stories
Yes.
to leave with our children and grandchildren so they know it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let them know your story.
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't keep it hidden.
I'm with you.
Deep down inside.
Yeah.
Solomon, one of the wisest men on earth, what did he say? There's nothing new under the sun.
No.
We think we have something new because you give it a new name.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's basically what it is, but life is what
Yeah.
life is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we could draw from one another rather than competing. Let me be quiet before I start preaching.
You're doing great.
Yeah. We're eager to hear.
Okay, we're getting closer down. Believe it or not, time is so beautiful when it comes when you're enjoying yourself. Time.
Yeah.
It was wonderful to be
Yeah.
with you.
Thank you.
Yes, and likewise.
Wonderful.
Likewise, to enjoy people as a whole. I would tell them all the time, you know something? I would talk to a rock.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you know, to interact, and a lot of time, even to get things on the outside of yourself.
Yes.
Without holding it in.
Yes.
And sometimes the people get so caught up, I guess the American way they call it, being so macho, and they hold all these things in. And it really causes more of a detriment
Yeah.
than it does our blessing.
Absolutely.
It does. Yeah. You're right.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't follow a format. And what I did have, I like that. A lot of times myself have a bad habit of that. I could study a message that I'm going to preach the next morning, and when I get in the pulpit, the Lord changed it all.
Yes,
Yeah.
he does.
Been there?
Yeah.
So that's why I like interacting, being real, being a personable person.
Yeah.
A psychiatrist, a lot of times I say, that patient come in there for a long period of time, telling that psychiatrist what he think he want him to say in here.
Right.
And then all of a sudden that patient get angry. I'm going to tell him out today. And then when they walk in and talk to the psychiatrist, now we're getting somewhere.
Yeah.
Because before you were telling me what you thought and so forth.
Yes.
Amen. But that's the problem today. A lot of times we're doing and saying things that we think people expect of us,
Yeah.
or we expect of them, and we don't get to the root cause until we maybe have to get angry, or maybe have to get to that point
Yeah.
of not minding. Guess what? We're at the end of the show. Whatever you might want to say, your camera's back there. I want each one of you to take a turn. Look at whoever's looking at the camera, whatever God put on your heart, in summary of our production here about dementia and Alzheimer's.
Okay.
In about a minute.
The heart of it all begins with gratefulness for whatever you have been given in your life. If you can be grateful for that, it will lead you to joy, it will lead you to peace, it will lead you to Christ. Thank you.
Praise God. Thank you, Brother Scott.
Well, I have to do my job and make sure people don't have a story like mine, right? So you don't have to go through this disease alone. There are free resources from the Alzheimer's Association. We do have a 24/7 helpline. It's a national number, so if you're watching us on YouTube, you don't even live in Ohio, you can still call this national number. It's 800-272-3900. You can also go to our website, which is alz.org. All kinds of great information there. Each local chapter will have support groups, they'll have education programs. You can get counseling through that 800 number, but reach out to us. Don't go this alone. It takes a village to go through the journey of dementia, so don't be too afraid or too proud to ask for help.
And then again, the ball is in your court. These beautiful people have come here to give you cheer and open the door. It's just the beginning. Now it's your turn. And just they say, your move. May God bless you. May heaven smile on you.
Good God in my heaven, tell how great